Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at just how good the Strength Super Saiyan 3 Goku is in the Omega Shenron event. Strength Super Saiyan 3 Goku is pretty good. I think a lot of people can kind of agree that been a great unit and he's a very good high volume damage dealer. But there are some mitigations to his performance, and I think you have to kind of accept to a certain extent that he could not look great in certain situations and he'll look pretty good in other ones. Now let's talk specifically about Goku's kit a little bit before we discuss its viability in the Omega Shenron event. Now just before we even get into it, Goku's great in this event. He's also great in pretty much every event currently on Global, so I wouldn't worry too much if you've picked Goku or pulled him. You're pretty much good to go. He's great in all this content. Now, Goku, so let's just talk his kit design specifically related to Omega Shenron. Now, Goku has two modes. He has the standby mode and the Super Saiyan 3 mode. The standby mode, very, very cool. We'll discuss that separately. But in his base form, he has a high chance of 50% evasion, right? And then he also gets an additional evasion of 20% as a second or third attacker in the turn. This, however, unfortunately will only kick in once the very first attack has taken off. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because if Omega Shenron does a group AoE attack as his first attack of the turn, Goku only has a 50% evasion rate. Now, that's not terrible. 50% evasion is more than fine. It's a pretty solid and reliable amount to have. And 50% evasion is not something to scoff at. But Goku's start turn defense, even at a rainbow level, is not tremendously high. So what can happen, and you'll see it in this video, especially during the strength phases, there are very admittedly small windows, but there are windows where Goku can get hit and just take a ton of damage. Outside of those small windows, outside of those areas where he can take a bit of damage and receive a bit of damage, he's great. Once you do get his super attack off defensively in terms of raw defense, he's more than fine to handle normals. His evasion pretty much covers him for super attacks and things like that, which is obviously fantastic. And then on top of all of that, if you really want to avoid a super attack, you have the standby mode. Now the standby mode is pretty cool. The standby mode is probably one of the, well, I wanted to say the better part of Goku, but it's probably the cooler aspect of Goku overall. I just think it's a really, really awesome kind of functionality with Goku, because it does a lot. It gives the rest of your allies defense, it gives the rest of them ki. It lets you see super attacks, which is super helpful in any hard event. But more importantly, it lets you place Goku in the way of the super attack. Goku has increased defense, so all of a sudden he's a lot stronger defensively. He has a 70% evasion chance. If you're low on health, that becomes a 90% evasion chance. And then all of a sudden Goku can evade all of the attacks. And then, when he gets supered, which you can see, so you can place him exactly where you need him to be, he will, instead of getting supered, respond with huge damage. And I think, not saying that it's underrated, because I think people rate that skill appropriately, but for me, definitely I would say Goku is, that's really where I find like a lot of great value out of him. Good damage, fantastic damage dealer, 12, 13 million in the second slot, critting quite consistently, solid defensively. Like I said, there's small windows where he can let you down, but in general, he's pretty solid. The evasion covers for him, his raw defense is good enough for normals and things like that. And generally speaking, you're quite fine, but it's that ability to use the finish skill. It's that ability to go into standby mode, to prevent damage, to be more productive, to secure yourself another turn, essentially, because he's also providing defensive support. So it's not just like he's only avoiding the attack, he's actually boosting the survivability of all your other units, which I think is really, really really impressive, to be honest. So yeah, I think overall a very, very, very good unit. And yeah, I think overall, honestly, quite a solid kit design. You can see here the finish skill being activated, really just kind of elevating, preventing the damage, scoring huge damage as well. So I think it's great. And yeah, honestly, Goku in the Omega Shenron event, very, very good. Very good high level unit. Yes, there are small windows in this event specifically where he can get caught out because of how the additional percentage from his passive works. But generally speaking, it's a very small window. Like I say, it's not crazy. Your 50% will usually cover for you. And I think, yeah, most times you're going to end up just having a great time with him. So if you do have any queries or anything, obviously let me know. Or if you have any thoughts and opinions on how well Goku does, I'd love to hear it. But I think overall, Goku's great. Even without the active skill, you can see again. Obviously, this is kind of using him as a pseudo slot 1 tank. Not necessarily the best idea, but it is what we're currently doing. Because I didn't know if we would get the second turn. But yeah, you can see the evasion kicking in really nicely. That's obviously the health requirement. Him being below the health requirement, him having all that additional evasion. Obviously, first start's not ideal because you're losing a lot of damage. But if you want to, you could use him there. However, I would probably say, second slot, third slot, that's definitely where you want him. You want that big damage increase, you want those crits, you want that increase in evasion. But he's great, and he's got some good first slot partners, specifically in this video, Super Saiyan Goku.